Hello and welcome back to Warcraft Daily for today, the 11th of May 2014. So in today's news we have various interesting things. I'm going to be talking about trash loot rewards and old raids, realm connections, and then a roundup of all the latest interesting blue tweets as picked by me. So, first of all, trash loot rewards in old raids. Well, last week they deployed a bit of a kind of shadow hotfix. It's the sort of thing that they do without telling anyone. Usually they do these when there's an exploit or something like that they need to patch quickly, and when they don't want to draw a lot of attention to it. It's the kind of thing they just sort of do. It's like they send in the SAS of Blizzard. And this time it was targeted at raids, and especially loot in old raids. Now, it has been completely reverted, however, there's a little bit of information to take from this. So, basically what they did is they drastically reduced the drop chances that a solo player would be getting while running through, say, Black Temple or something like that. Well, effectively drastically reduced. What they did is they made it so that the amount of, I believe it was crafting materials, whites... yes, it was uncommon, common, and purr, so green, white, and grey items. The drop rate of those was it was made so it would scale with the number of players in the raid. Now that, of course, meant that if you were doing a 25-player raid during that week, and then you just went in there with one person, you didn't get much. You really didn't get much. And that wasn't too fun for a lot of people, because these old raids are actually done for a number of reasons. Of course, Transmog's probably the largest, but also people like to farm cloth in old raids, and maybe get enchanting mats and various other things like that. So it really did hurt those people. Now, they have completely undone the fix. And I'm guessing they fixed whatever the exploit was, and then we're done. But of course, they said that basically they're sorry for how this sort of impacted a few innocent players, and that's why they've put it back, so that there's not going to be any impact for legit players, at least for the next while. However, in Warlords of Draenor, are things going to be changed a little bit? Could we expect the drop rates of blues, or no, of greens, whites, and greys to go down a little bit? Well, they said that they may do it going forward in Warlords so that they can keep the overall economy balanced. But if they do that, then there will be clear documentation, and they'll be basically telling people exactly what they're doing, as opposed to this time where they just sent in the troops and fixed it without anyone really noticing. So, yeah, not really great. But what do I think about the whole thing? Honestly, I think it's a little bit unfortunate. Really, there are many ways to farm mats in this game, and I think going back and doing old raids should be, in a few cases, just as good as going and farming, Sun Reaver, Sunwell, whatever, troops in like their hot tub or something. You should be able to farm things in the world, in instances, whatever, and it be relatively good. So hopefully in Warlords they won't nerf this stuff too much. Because another thing that's really worth taking into account is, if you look at the Cataclysm crafting material market at the minute, I don't know about your server, but in mine and a few others I know, it's crazy. The price of Hypnotic Dust is often 10 gold each, so 200 gold a stack. Crazy. And one of the reasons for that, I suppose, is yes, you do blast through the Cataclysm leveling experience these days, but also, people can't go back and solo those raids. They don't get Emberweave Cloth from doing those raids on their own. I mean, okay, look, those raids can be soloed if you're in decent gear and know what you're doing, but I think for the vast majority of people, they just sort of go back and troll their way through Black Temple or something. Of course, there will be outliers who can solo that Cataclysm content, and I'm sure they make an absolute killing from it. But yeah, I think that if they were to reduce these drop rates too much, it would have a little bit of an effect on the economy, certainly, and that could be okay if they made everything just a tiny little bit more expensive to perhaps allay the gold inflation that will no doubt come with the new expansion. I'm not 100% sure, but in general, just Blizzard, don't nerf this too much, really. Let people have their fun, let them go into these old raids and farm stuff. I think it should be fine. Okay, next, we are going to be talking a little bit about, realm connections. So they made a post saying that realm connections in both the EU and the US are temporarily on hold for back-end work. What is back-end work? Basically, they've got to tool around with their servers for a little bit of time. And I thought this was certainly worth talking about in Warcraft Daily because, well, while the American realm connections have been pretty fast, and at least I think they were extremely fast, or at least very fast, after 5.4 dropped, it's just me or has the rate been slowing? I should probably have done that research, but I know at least that in the EU, we're not getting as many realm connections as our US counterparts. This is a little bit of a problem, honestly. I think that this is... it's annoying. Like, my server actually has just dropped to low, I noticed in the login screen, and it just feels dead. It would be great to get these connected realms, and hell, I think an extra sort of kick in the teeth or at least in the UK, is we've been having slow realm connections, some spotty server issues, and then they increased the price of paid character transfers and stuff like that for us, which was lovely. Cheers for that one, Blizzard. Much obliged and stuff. But yeah, these realm connections, in my opinion, should be one of their top priorities. Warlords of Draenor needs to release into the game, into servers that are full of people, and the more connections they can make between realms and the larger they can make all these realm populations, the better, because it means there's going to be more of a social experience for everyone in the new expansion. I think that is just of the utmost importance. They need to get these realm connections going faster than I suppose they are at the minute, and a delay like this is just a little bit concerning, really. I hope it's not a very long delay, and I hope that they just get back on track, trying to get things working well, and maybe just speed it up in the EU a little bit, because things are just, in some servers, they're feeling a little bit dead. I remember going on, I think it was Outland EU, going to the Vale, or was it the Vale, or maybe it was Orgrimmar, I think, and it was just teeming with life. There were so many people, so many more than what I'd see in Stormwind on Shadowsong, and I'm in the most populous faction of that realm. It really is rather disconcerting, I guess. Anyway, so let's talk about some of the tweets that have came out over the last few days. Now, generally I do stray away from class-specific stuff, because unless it's ultra cool, I don't think it's really worth giving much airtime, because, it doesn't really affect everyone. Anyway, so, in terms of PvP tweets, well, Halinka said that Rated Battlegrounds will be getting a spectator mode. That's actually kind of cool. And interestingly enough, I found that the spectator mode was actually really well facilitated by, not well facilitated, but people could use the World of Warcraft Machinima tool to get a kind of pseudo-spectator mode thingy going on. Of course, the Machinima tool's not been updated in a long time, and is no longer usable in the game, so yeah, I don't know, it's weird, and I think it's definitely great that the RPGs will have a spectator mode. The Twitch.tv World of Warcraft community is a little bit sparse at the minute. It's got its big names and stuff, but things like spectator modes are really going to help out tournament organizers. I think it's really important, and being able to see fights go on from a different camera angle that's not limited to a character, where people can see the overall scope of the battle, is going to make it more watchable, in my opinion. At least it'll be a nice thing that people could cut to perhaps make the arena footage and battleground footage just be a little bit more fun to watch and appealing, rather than just always looking at, jumping from character to character, where it's kind of confusing. At least with a spectator mode, you can pan over the whole battlefield and let your audience know exactly what's going on in terms of the, I don't know, is strategic the word or is tactical the word? Whatever, the tactical situation of the battle. So that's very cool. Then another thing that Halinka said is that they plan on giving us a wider variety of trinkets. This includes some fun ones and some competitive ones, mostly via Ashran. Well, what does that mean? I'm guessing just trinkets which have various different effects. They're maybe PvP related. And yeah, hey, look, the more variety, the better, in my opinion. Just, more varied gameplay and more rewards and things to run after. So definitely fair enough. Okay, so next, some PvE tweets. First of all, Celestalon tweeted saying that Proving Grounds achievements will likely be turned into feats of strength. That makes sense, because they'll be sort of overhauling or redoing parts of the Proving Grounds system to make it a bit better with Warlords. And of course, with class changes, getting to Endless 100 or whatever now is going to be different from getting to Endless 100 then. So if you want those original achievements, go do your Proving Grounds now. And then also Lore tweeted saying that they are not planning on using Lesser Charms of Fortune at the minute, and they don't plan on converting them to anything like money or stuff like that. Basically, they might just leave them in the game. I think that's a bit unfortunate. It's clutter that we don't particularly need if that resource is being removed from the game. Maybe they could do something with it, I'm not sure, but maybe just mailing us in some gold would be okay, I guess. Hell, if the expansion dropped and everyone got a mailbox with, I don't know, like 500G in it, I think that would be nice, put a bit of a smile on people's faces. Anyway, so next we have, although of course that would inflate the market a tiny bit, so yeah, whatever. Anyway, next they tweeted a little bit about garrisons. They said that many of the plans that are used to build the various garrison buildings will be unlocked for free during leveling. I think that's mainly these the kind of basic buildings that everyone will be expected to at least have at their disposal. So maybe a lumber mill or stuff like that. You'll be able to get those for free during leveling. But if you just want to level up through your LFR, not your LFRs, your normal dungeons and things like that, then you will have the option of purchasing them for a fee later on. But of course, I think if they were too expensive, just go back and level it. The leveling's in Warlords probably not going to be that bad. And honestly, I'd say if you're normally someone who does leveling via battlegrounds and dungeons and things like that, just go and give the questing a go. They're doing a number of overhauls in Warlords, which should be quite fun, and maybe it'll just make the questing a little bit more fun to you. Alright, then next, they talked about the garrison defenses. Basically, if you don't know, from time to time your garrison can come under attack by numerous lovely foes, and a lot of people were worried, that maybe you're running around doing something and your garrison's attacked. You don't want to have to drop what you're doing and run over there, and that's actually going to be the case. They're still working out the exact mechanism, but they said that they will guarantee that you will not have to drop what you're doing when your garrison is going to be attacked. I think that's pretty cool. Then finally, they said that followers cannot be named by people. This basically means that each follower is going to be their own kind of character. Maybe Blizzard are going to write dialogue for them and things like that, so instead of it just being you collecting a whole bunch of faceless guys, naming them and that sort of thing, you're going to be collecting characters and seeing them grow and that sort of thing. Or at least that's what Blizzard would ideally want. I think this is definitely more of a design decision rather than trying to limit players. Obviously, they have the technology to allow you to name your followers, but I think that you can kind of get cool little character stories and things going on, and maybe cool interactions between different followers. Maybe if you have an Orc-Bane follower, and then you get maybe an orc, they can have some sort of banter or something. I don't know, but I think it could be a decent little bit of fun. Anyway, that is it for Warcraft Daily for today. If you have any feedback or anything like that, please leave it down in the comments, and that like/dislike button is something that should be used appropriately. Anyway, with all that said, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.